This episode is a special Kickstarter event that we are recording in collaboration with Magpie Games, supporting the Root Tabletop RPG. It's currently in Kickstarter, and you can go check the link in the episode details to get involved. In only 24 hours, they've already blown past $100,000, so I guess this game's gonna get made. You can still get involved in the stretch goals. You can find out the perks, and as we both know, supporting these games on Kickstarter is also the best value for you as a consumer. This game's not going to be as cheap when it's available in stores. So you can get in on the ground level today by checking the link in the show notes. Everything you're about to hear is based on the Quick Start rules, which might not reflect the final version of the game, but that's part of the fun of it, isn't it? Today on the Terrible Warriors, we return to the woodland with the Crosspatch gang. A disgraced inventor, an exiled double agent, a thief on the run, and a vagrant who's just kinda happy to be here. They're burning all their bridges behind them, literally, running from one fire, heading right into the next. And now, they have an important choice to make. Where do they run to? Into the embrace of the Eyrie Dynasty? Back into the fire under the shadow of the Marquisate? Or perhaps into uncontrolled animal territory where the animal denizens still think they're free? It all comes into a head in our second episode of our playthrough of the Root RPG. And our Crosspatch gang? Well, of course, they're the Terrible Warriors. They're Terrible Warriors. Welcome back to our Kickstarter special of the Root Tabletop RPG by Magpie Games. The Kickstarter is happening right now. You can go check the episode details in the dibbly-doo to find out the exact link, so you can go send them your love. Check it out and see what's going on with this game. Root, the Tabletop RPG, as you heard last week, is based off of a board game, a game of might and right. We are playing as woodland animals, and if you haven't listened to our first episode, just go back and listen to it, because it is kind of integral now. We're in too deep with these backstories. We've done character creation in the last episode, and sometimes you might get away with being able to skip the character creation episode and come right into the story. No, not that one. There's a lot that is about to happen in this hour that is based directly off of the story that we invented as our sort of prequel to this adventure. At our table, we have the thief, the tinker, the scoundrel, and the vagrant. Yeah, the vagrant. And they're all vagabonds. And that's why I almost stumbled into the vagabonds. Vagabonds, you're exiled. You're no longer welcome in any one clearing in the woodland. The woodland is at war between the Eyrie Dynasties and the Marquis de Cat, the Marquisate. And they are vying over territory and the future of the woodland. And you are all very much now caught right in the middle between the pan and the fire, and everything's burning, including the workshop that we were just fleeing from. And while we introduce your characters, we can also introduce yourself. So we find ourselves now, maybe not, obviously not the workshop, but some safe house or a place where you had your like a rickshaw kind of wagon, and you were loading up supplies when the other three came running in from the jail. And you've got your amulets, your friendship amulets, all freshly secured, and your gold cloak, and the scoundrel's going, "What have I done? I have burned literally every bridge around me." Here we find ourselves. So let's start. It's the Tinkerer's room. So reintroduce us to your character and to you, Julian.
Yeah. So, hey, it's Julian Spillane, and I'm rooting for this Kickstarter.
Oh
Oh
boy.
boy.
Get out. The Tinker died in the explosion and went home to be with his people.
So I'm playing Jasper, the raccoon tinkerer, and we find ourselves in a very precarious situation in that I have just been banished from this particular Marquisate facility for my heretical science, allegedly. And at the same time, we find ourselves with a band of jailbreaks. We've managed to find the remaining people sympathetic to me in the palisade here, and we've secured ourselves a wagon.
Yeah.
Where do we go? What do we do? I have a safe house in Sundell, but I haven't been there in months. I don't know if it stands. I don't know if they've seized it, but it might be a place to go if we need some supplies. But I don't know where we're going or what we're doing. I just know we can't stay here.
And our thief. How do you feel about that? And introduce yourself to this story.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm playing Jinx the Thief, who's a fox that just is a kleptomaniac, which is going to be great. So Jinx is just, let's keep on the move. Let's just keep going. Let's just move and we'll be fine. I'm sure if we go there, if somebody else is taking it over, maybe they have cool new things that we can play with and steal.
It's a pretty good philosophy. I
Yeah.
like it.
I'm all for this.
How is our vagrant feeling about that? In comes a ferret. Kind of stand out in the crowd, don't you?
So I'm Sean. I'm playing Sir Emmerich of Crosspatch, the ferret, and sort of on the run on a number of fronts. Maybe not the smartest mammal in the. Is it a mammal? I don't even know.
It is a mammal.
Oh yeah,
Mammal.
totally mammal.
Thank you.
They're basically
Okay.
polecats. They're
There we
they're in
go.
the same family as raccoons and possums, and
Love it.
you're crepuscular, so you're the most energetic at sunrise and sundown, and you just kind of want to sleep it off.
I was really good in the sciences. Let me tell you, that's my strong point. So Sir Emmerich of Crosspatch is feeling quite excited. Did y'all see? Oh, look at that burn! The whole building's burning!
Oh no!
We did that!
Oh dear!
Yeah.
I did that.
Well, actually, he did that! One match!
It was kind of a
You
joint
did the
effort.
murders.
I did the murders.
Who did the
Yes.
murders? In comes the scoundrel. That was me.
Yes,
or
that
they
was
say
me.
as they walk in.
Hi, Daniel Kwan here. I'm playing Trixie the Lost, the scoundrel, once known as Ravencloak to the Marquisate, a double agent who was working for the Eyrie. Now, all of my bridges have been burnt.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
We just burnt them
They're not fair.
But we did it together!
as a team.
So you're in this kind of like garage shack kind of thing, just on the edge of the clearing where traders might come in and out. They would unload cargo and move out. You might not be the only ones in this area. Think like here in Toronto, the Ontario Food Terminal. It's kind of that kind of a bit, but it also means you can somewhat or not blend in because this is a place where people are coming and going, and as long as you don't draw any attention, it's enough for you to like load up and just sneak your way out. But you can also hear like the fire bells going and the town's guard, and the whole place is on alert. So a choice needs to be made now. It's too hot to remain in Patchwood, and you need to find some safety. Now, I gave you what's kind of neat about Root is we can generate our map of the woodland uniquely every single time we play. And I rolled in advance this really interesting map that we've come to know in our character creation. So where we are, and maybe I'll scan this and drop it up on Patreon so you can have a look at it and you can see my horrible symbols for a rabbit head and a wolf. And
Oh, it looks good.
So it's we're in Patchwood, which is to the northeast of the map, or northwest of the map, closest to the seat of power of the Eyrie Dynasties of all things. They're within running distance if you wanted to go there to Fire Hollow, which Trixie knows well. Or to the south is the clearing of Sundell, which Jasper knows well. It's where Jasper keeps their workshop. It is, last we heard, not associated with any of the two factions and is instead run by the fox denizens of Sundell. Or if you want to stay in enemy territory, Rostoon is to the southeast. It's a rabbit clearing, but is, last you heard, currently under control by the Marquis de Cat.
I would feel more comfortable with foxes.
Yeah, I think we should move to Sundale. At the very least, we might have sympathetic friends and sympathetic ears there, and at the very, very least, some provisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, more friends the better.
Meanwhile, just outside, you can hear someone talking. It sounds like the mouse who looks after like the foreman of this garage. And he's talking to someone going, I don't know. No one's supposed to be in here. This place isn't registered for anyone. It's supposed to be empty. I don't know what to say. I don't have any place for your wagons. And he's like, why? What do you mean? I paid for this in advance. It's supposed to be empty. What's the point in making a reservation if there isn't an available room when I arrive?
I'm going to quickly go to cover Emmerich's mouth.
What's going on?
What are we seeing right now? Is it just
You just see shadows of two people kind of arguing just outside of the door. Let's say there's a wooden door that closes off into this room that you're in. It's like a barn. The woodland wouldn't have like working animals like horses or something, so everything would be like on your back or rickshaws or things like that. But there still must be a place where goods and services can be stored, and that's kind of what this is. So it's a storage locker that you're at, but someone outside is I'm just throwing a little bit of
Yeah.
a complication on your way out.
Yeah.
What's the problem here? You hear from the voice of, it sounds like the voice of a fox. And that's Patchwood is a fox clearing. More of an authoritative voice. Might be a town guard.
We need to go.
Yeah, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So let's try and maybe sneak our way out of this place. Yeah, just keep
Just
covering
just
his
keep
mouth.
covering his mouth.
Are you harboring fugitives in here? He says all gruffly. No, sir, I have no idea what's going on. There's no one supposed to be using this room.
Let's see. Yeah, let's try and get out of. I'm gonna at least try and
Give
get
you an
closer to the
opportunity to
door.
look at your moves
Yeah,
if there's
just
something you want to
figuring
do.
out what
yeah.
I'm doing here. I feel like this calls for some roguish feats.
Most of what I can do is disappear into the dark. So
Yeah,
it's going to be great for me. I don't know how it's going to help anybody else.
So it might be quite simple for you to run, but we've also established that you've got
Yeah, we got a while to go.
things are in this wagon as well. So if you want to keep your equipment, you
Yeah.
might have to take some decay if you want to abandon that stuff behind, right?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna sneak over to the door, or attempt to see if
Oh,
just
yeah.
get a better lay of what's going on.
So that'd be a roguish feat to remain out of sight.
Can
Roguish
I
feats.
can I roll aid? To
Yeah,
help
if you ever
out?
want to, if you ever want to help,
wanna help
it's not,
her.
you don't ever roll aid in route.
Yeah.
What you can do
Yeah.
is you help her interfere and you mark exhaustion.
Yep, I'm gonna do
And-
that.
Do it after the roll.
And you do it after
Can I
the
do it
roll.
after?
Yeah, you do
Oh,
it after the
yeah.
roll if you want to help. You can
Okay,
add
sweet.
You can add 1 to the roll or -2 to the roll, and then you can mark an additional exhaust to either hide your action or create an opportunity. So if you want to help and you want them to know you're helping, you might be able to also create a moment of opportunity, maybe a distraction, maybe another detail they wouldn't notice.
Explain
Mhm.
me. So it said that gives me stuff for on a hit. What does that mean? Is that
So
a perfect
powered by
12?
Apocalypse on a
7
hit,
plus.
it's
7
7
plus,
plus.
right,
So
yes, okay.
7 plus. So everything over 7 is a hit. 10 plus is guarantee you get it.
Yeah.
7 to 9, you'll get it with conditions.
And then
anything
anything
less.
less
than that, I'll tell you what's going on. It won't be good.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see how this goes.
Ooh,
That's
And
are those 6s or 1s?
where's my basic move?
on Bluebeard's Bride?
those are ones.
Double odds.
Oh, that's
Snake
bad.
eyes.
Double, it's not worth it. You can't help enough.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to
Yeah,
help.
I wouldn't. Yeah, because
yeah.
my finesse is only 1.
Oh,
So
dear.
Double odds.
So you essentially just go and swing the door right open, don't you? And go, what's the problem here?
I am. Yeah, I'm not charming in any way. I'm just
Because you're not sneaky like the rest of them. You're a foxy inventor.
and nobody knows. I mean, I don't think
I'm
that
not going to tell
anybody
you
knows
swing
where,
the door up and
yeah.
say what's the problem here, but you
Walk
the minute
right
you minute you think you're being
You touch
sneaky,
the door and it goes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's real creaky, and they both now. As soon as you look out to kind of like, I wonder who's out there. As soon as you peek your head out, all 3 are staring right at you. One of them's a city guard. One of them looks like the person who owns the place, and the third person looks like a merchant, a rabbit who has come in from a nearby clearing. Who's here? Looks like they're exhausted. It's the end of the day, and they're looking around at the chaos that's happening right now in Patchwood.
Jasper's totally going to take care of it.
And the guard just looks right at you. Who are you? What are you doing here?
You don't know who I am?
You're squatting?
I'm Jasper.
Okay, so, geez.
'Cause
Gonna go right to those
I'm
reputation
Jasper.
rolls.
Yep.
He would probably know who I am. I live
He
in
might,
the
he might.
palace.
But if
yeah.
he's just like a city watch, right?
Yeah.
yeah. The inventor.
When you meet someone for the first time, that's important. This person, I would say, is quite important. With the reputation of that faction, I'm rolling with the reputation of that faction. What's your reputation with the Marquis right now?
So
It's 0, right?
Yeah, it's
It's
well,
0.
so I've got it's 0 right now.
You've got 2 notoriety,
Yeah.
but it hasn't dropped to a -1 yet. So
Yeah.
you're just going to roll 2 6s, and we're looking for a 7 to 9 or a 10 plus.
Am I adding anything, or is that
Nope,
just
because
okay.
you don't have any
Right.
reputation one way or the other.
To it, yeah.
7.
So on a 7 to 9, they either don't know you or what they've heard isn't especially good or bad. And he goes like, you go, I'm Jasper. And he goes, I'm Vance. What are you doing here?
Said we are just preparing to move our sundries down to Sundell.
They're squatters. You should arrest them. They're probably involved with that explosion. Where were you an hour ago? He looks into you.
Oh my!
And that's when Sir Emmerich of Crosspatch swings open the door, and behind him, I guess,
Are you wearing anything?
Probably not. No, I'm wearing my,
got your-
well, whatever I would
Just
have been
imagine you just
originally.
Hell
open it
yeah.
out just buck naked. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Perfect.
He was with me and Governor Jake. How have you know?
Governor Jake.
I'm trying to trick an NPC.
Yeah, like
Excellent.
you're hoping that this watch isn't in local
We
politics.
barely escaped from the explosion that you see.
Give me a cunning. It's
NPC.
it's trick an NPC. That's a cunning
Yep.
roll.
Yep.
Do you have any
Yeah, I do.
moves that
I do.
modify that you can do differently?
Um,
I don't know all the playbooks by heart, so
Yeah.
I will be relying on you to know your own.
no,
moves.
not. I think right here it's just like if I'm not trying to butter him up, I could
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
I didn't try that. So
You're doing a fine
that's
job.
fantastic.
Oh, that's great.
this is a
yeah.
9 plus 2, 11.
That's a 10 plus 2, 12.
Oh,
Oh, no, it's
yeah.
9. That's a 5, not a 6.
They're gonna take the bait and they're gonna do what you want. So the advance is like, wow, Governor! I didn't know there was a new governor in town.
It's an emergency that we be sent to
Sundell.
to Sundale at once. Please escort us.
It's like is anything? Is it a top secret military mission?
Shh! Oh, can't say that out here in front of them.
And is that when you kind of maybe brandish your military
Half of
badge?
it, half
Just
of it,
kind of
half
open
of
it.
it,
over.
yeah.
The mark of the Marquis, and it's like kind of shepherds the two of them away, going, "Not now, not now. This is an important state business, and he's now going to help you get out of town."
And watch out for the sun. He has lice.
This guy's going to get executed.
Yep.
All right, so his name is Vance, and he's a city watch guard who is incredibly gullible to ferrets, apparently. So he tells you, it's like, well, you know, this whole place it's no wonder they're trying to sneak you out right now. The enemies abound. They're probably sending assassins.
No.
And and he tells you, it's like, you know, the watch is only checking out right now down the south part of the street, but if you head out this way, they won't be looking for you. So they've given you a way out because
let's go.
you got it. You got a 12.
We got it.
You got
Yeah,
a
we
12.
gotta
He's going to
go.
absolutely get suckered out.
Well, thank you, Vance. Thank you for serving
He kind of looks in. It's like,
serving your city.
always wanted to help as secret special forces. Is anything else you need from me?
Sir Emmerich kisses him.
I don't really roll for that.
Yeah.
And he just
And then turns and walks
kind of
away. Turns and walks away.
blushes and he immediately goes around being really important to everyone else, going, clear the area, everyone get out of here, there's a curfew. And you hear in the background, ding, 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 like that. There's like everything's on fire, and in the woodlands,
yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
bad thing,
Yeah.
right? So cool, that mission accomplished. You've got a clear path out if you want to leave.
Let's go to Sundell. I
Let's
guess.
go.
Let's go. We had a travel move.
All right. So when
Yeah.
you travel from clearing to clearing along established paths, everyone in the band will collectively mark exhaustion to represent how fast and determinedly they move along the path. Now, this does not mean you all have to mark the same. It's something that's an individualized choice. If, as a group, you mark fewer exhaustion than the number of vagabonds in the group, so if as a group you mark fewer than 4, you will all roll -1. The group only rolls once. You roll -1 for the travel. If you mark equal exhaustion to the number of vagabonds, you will roll with a 0. And if additional exhaustion is marked, you'll add +1 to the roll. So you can choose, I'm not marking exhaustion, I'm going to lag behind. You'll slow everyone down. You won't have to mark exhaustion, but if you only get the 3, we'll roll with the -1. Or you can hurry up the pace. You can mark an extra exhaustion and keep everyone going. And as long as we get to 5, we'll roll with a +1, right? No one has marked any exhaustion. No one has failed any rolls.
I feel like we're setting up, just from the story, we're setting a brisk pace.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
like, we need to be out of here as
Definitely.
soon as
Got a boogie.
possible. I'm going to mark 2 exhaustion just for that.
I'll mark 2.
Okay.
I
You only
really-
need to get-
Emmerich wants to be, but he's
you only
gonna
need to
dawdle
get
a
to the
little, look at
5.
things.
So if you both mark 2, there's no extra benefit to it. But it might mean if the 2 of you mark 2, only one of you needs to mark 1 exhaustion to reach that 5. So
Yeah, I
if
think-
you
I think-
want to just kind of sit back in the wagon,
I feel
like you
Jasper
would.
is
pulling.
in the wagon then at this point, and
cheering us on.
Probably, cheering on, be like, yeah, you're doing so good. 1, 2, just going through all the like whatever
all the shit,
whatever
and
they
there's
pulled
a vial.
off of. Yeah.
counting all the
things
counting
I
all the
found.
coin. Excellent.
Well, it's gonna be more than coin. I'm sure they
So
found a lot
someone
of weird
from the
stuff.
group, I shouldn't have to roll. The GM shouldn't be rolling. So someone from the group want to roll.
Not me.
Yeah, not Jasper.
Go for it.
Huzzah!
3
Crap.
3.
Really?
Yes.
It +1.
plus 7.
Plus 1.
Plus
So that's
7.
only a 4.
We are not a successful adventuring
Oh
troop.
my goodness! On
Half
a
this group is not allowed
miss,
to roll
That was
anymore.
the first time I ever yelled huzzah and rolled dice. So
you'll be
that was-
embroiled in the middle of
Probably.
a dangerous situation before you arrive.
Oh,
So on a miss, you're heading out, and this gives me an opportunity to do some rolls here on the war. I'm just going to check to see how a clearing has been impacted on the war, because this might inform me on what we find on the road. 2d6 plus each faction controlling or neighboring the clearing. So it's +2 to that roll because there's both the Eyrie and the Marquis are neighboring Sundell. If there are 2 different factions and a third faction is in control. Oh, and a third faction is in control. It's +3. So this might go real bad.
That's good for us.
So I rolled a 7 and a 3. Ooh, dear, that's a 10. Battle scarred. The clearing shows the signs of battle, the scars of fighting. So what's going to happen is on the way out, you're going down this road and you got your wagon and you hear fighting going on, and you hear like tree branches cracking. Almost sounds like there's an explosion, and you hear the yells of retreat, retreat. And as you come around one of the carved paths, you see there's the banner of the Marquis de Cat, and they're pushing in to try and take Sundell. And you're behind it. You're coming across. You're finding bodies on the side of the trail, but you failed. So this isn't just seeing signs of an incident. Is what would happen on a 7 to 9. You are being embroiled in the middle of a dangerous situation before you arrive at Sundell. So as you're coming around, Marquis soldiers who are in the trees, right? They come up and a few of the rangers that were holding up the rear come out of the bushes, arrows drawn. And they don't even say anything right now. They're eerily quiet. One character comes down, their face is covered. You can't really yet make out. You just see the fur. You can't tell if it's a cat or a fox or maybe kind of a badger, but their face is kind of covering their features. And they come down from a branch and they land on the trail right in front of you. State your intentions.
While this happens.
And he's wearing like the red tabard of the Marquis de Cat.
Yeah.
Hearing this, Jinx is actually going to disappear into the dark, but in the wagon. So just go like
right, immediately burrow.
So I slip into the shadows while unnoticed and mark exhaustion.
No, I would tell they might only see the 3 of you.
That's
They might not know there's anyone in the wagon.
Cool. That's what I'm trying to do then.
I think I want to try and persuade an NPC that we are here unofficial, because I'm presuming that news can't have spread faster than us getting out here.
No, this might have also been just another bit of the war that is just happening in parallel.
So I'm just going to be not squarely, just official, and say, I am Jasper Vance on business from Quentin Vance. Very important.
Oh, is your name Vance?
Well, he's a
sorry, because
bastard.
I had Lieutenant Vance.
Yeah, he's quite
was the watchman. I just picked from the name list.
He was raised by Quentin Vance, so he goes by it, but Quentin insists, I am not your father.
Oh, sorry. It was just maybe there was a bit in my head. Vimes. Then
Vimes.
He's now Vimes. Mentioning a little shout out to Discworld.
Yeah. So I'm Jasper Vance of the inventor Vances. We are on our way through Sundell on business of the Marquisate.
I rolled a 8 on your reputation, so they're not going to recognize you. So that's fine. If I fail or no, they'll be like, I know you, you're wanted, or 10 plus. They go, holy crap.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to trick this NPC with cunning. Let's see how I roll. Please be good. Oh, that's better. So 8 with my cunning.
They're not going to take the bait on do what you want. On a 7 to 9, you're going to choose one of these. They hesitate, you shake their confidence or weaken their morale. They stumble, you gain a critical opportunity. They overreact, take +1 forward against them.
I feel like gaining a critical opportunity is probably the important thing here. That opportunity might be getting through.
This leader of this group squints their eyes and doesn't recognize you, but is hearing what's going on, but is also really distracted by the fighting that's happening out in the forests around you. And at some point, you hear there's the yellings of retreat, fall back, and you see other kind of soldiers running through the trees away from the trail. He can't be bothered right now, right? Like what's going on? It's like, you shouldn't be here. It's dangerous to be out on the trails. You're taking your life in your own hands. And he yells up at one of the archers, "What are you looking at? Keep your eyes over there." And is just now distracted enough that he isn't so much paying attention to you if you wanted to just head off into the front line.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Move.
Yeah.
Forward.
We just book it
Just
forward,
this
I
little
guess.
voice from the back.
I didn't know we were on an errand for your father.
We're not.
What?
I've been banished.
Oh.
But that's,
But you told him we're...
I lied.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a deception.
Yeah, it was a cunning deception.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm hesitant to engage with any Marquisate.
Who aren't we heading towards whatever they're running from?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Running into this fight does sound like there's a bit of a trust fate. I kind of, if nothing else fits, trust fate allows you to like scrape by or earns you an easy escape or a fleeting opportunity. Like, yes, the cats are escape or the Marquis are running away and retreating, but you're also running towards whatever they're retreating
And
from.
here's the thing: if we backtracked,
everyone.
we'd be caught by.
Yep.
By then, we have to plow
I
forward.
have a plan.
Yeah.
We all just close our eyes and run.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
roll
might not
luck.
Like we're just
And so
running.
I get
We're
to
just
roll a
running
charm.
with the.
Yeah, roll for the group when you roll for luck.
All right.
And we're
So
gonna
I'm
trust in
closing my
fate.
eyes.
Does anyone have a +1 in luck?
Plus
You can
I have
mark
a
an
+2.
exhaustion
Plus
to
2
help
for
the roll.
He gets to use charm though.
Oh, charm.
5.
7.
I need
Seven.
some
So
help.
it's a 7. So
Oh,
if
it's
you
a
mark,
seven.
if
It's
you
a
mark it, if you mark exhaustion, you can increase by 1, but only one person can
That won't
aid
really help
like that.
much.
So it won't bring it up to the next threshold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I won't.
But you could also mark 2 exhaustion to create an opportunity, right? Like as well as the aid.
We wanna go
But
with partial?
on
We can go with partial.
a 7, on a hit, you're gonna scrape by, but I'm gonna tell you what it costs you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think we scrape by.
I think
Yeah.
it's
With our
Oh,
eyes
yeah, I
closed,
think so.
screaming,
I don't-
we just charge forward.
Yeah.
You're coming up and you can see where they're running from, but there's a barricade on the road and the pathway, and there's it looks like they had like siege equipment or other kinds of like wooden vehicles of warfare, and things are on fire and they're broken and there's bodies in the ground and they're you can see like spears and stuff sticking out of the ground, and you're going through like this no man's land, and your wagon gets stuck into this wet mud now as the fire and the water and the blood, and you can stay and you can try and pull the wagon out, but on that 7 to 9, you could all mark decay and go on foot, but you're going to leave your supplies behind.
I mean, we should.
And for the
we're gonna
tinker,
get to
it'll
the
be
lab.
2 decay because that's all your shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how much can we load up of the
Yeah,
gear?
well, exactly. You could load up enough, but you're not going to be able to load up everything, and that would be represented by your loss and
Right.
decay, is leaving your stuff behind.
I mean,
So I'm just offering you that ugly choice.
Yeah.
You can stay, but while this is happening, you can also hear in the smoke and the fire, there's sounds of other soldiers. You don't know what side they're on, and they're coming towards you.
and I don't think any of us are particularly mighty.
Do you want to be caught in no man's land right now?
Let's run.
No, we should run.
Running?
Yeah. Running sounds good.
I don't think I like Sundell.
So I'll let you mark the decay to abandon your belongings. If you ever fill that decay track full, you have no more supplies. But during the game, if you want to be like, I've got a lantern, I've got rope, or I've got food and water, you can mark decay to represent you summoning that item into
But we
the
won't
narrative.
be able to do that if we have full decay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have full decay, you have nothing to invent and pull out. And your equipment that you got in character creation, your swords, your armor, they also have decay tracks. When you take decay onto those swords, usually through mist rolls, you can opt to mark decay on that weapon or that equipment, or from your general decay track. It's your choice. So it's not safe out in the woodland. That's kind of what happens when you clear and you roll snake eyes.
Yeah.
But you make it through. You had to leave your belongings behind. You're marching through the mud. You're exhausted. I'm sorry, thief. Mark another exhaustion. You didn't get to actually sleep in the back of the wagon like you wanted to. You actually had to start marching on foot, and that was really freaky out. So I'm also gonna give that to you.
Okay.
And but you do arrive in Sundell at sunfall at the end of the day. You pass by this skirmish that happened somewhere in here, but at least for now, the Foxes have held on their independence. They're fiercely fighting for their neutrality. They're holding back and they're not aligning themselves to any one faction. But they've set up an embargo on the roads. And that's what happened was the Marquis de Cat was trying to break through this checkpoint. You walked through in the middle of all of that desolation and you snuck past it with just the 4 of you, a little different than an army. You arrive in Sundell at night to a town that is just scarred from war. Everyone in there has been working around the clock to keep their place safe and unaffected by the war of the rest of the woodland. But it also means everyone's working. Even at nighttime or even near the end of the day, you can hear hammers working, you can hear bellows going. Things have been, makeshift tents and blacksmiths have been going up. Injured are coming in from the woods and are being treated to. And no one's really paying attention to just 4 more refugees arriving into Sundale at nighttime. More and more people are fleeing from the fight to this place that, like Jasper thought, is this refuge, and it's just another mouth to feed. And there's going to be, when you walk in, what do you want to do?
So I've been coming here for years to escape my abusive, terrible father, and have set up a secret workshop. Now it's in the basement through a trapdoor in one of the local just food establishments.
Yeah.
It's basically just a cover. Like they run it, but they let me use their storehouse for the workshop. So it's accessible through kind of a storm access.
Right.
So presumably if so long as that person is still alive, then we might be able to access and get to the workshop.
So they come up with a nice little table where when we encounter a clearing, I can roll up some important features. Just give me just a quick moment.
Yeah.
I rolled a 5, so that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to say that one of the notable faces of Sundale is its quarry. And there's this part of this clearing. It's like a clay quarry though, and it goes down. And you can get minerals and stuff, but it's used for a lot of construction material and for build. And because of that, Sundale also has this unique look in architecture where it's very redstone. Think of it like Queen's Park with that red limestone, that very unique color of stone. It's the same architectural style as Patchwood, which was also a fox clearing, but because of the local minerals and the deposits and the stone, every building here has got this kind of blood-stained red look to all of the stone masonry. And one of the important inhabitants, roll a 2d6. What's going on? I roll for 2 of these. I roll a 4 and a 6. There's a historian that lives in Sundale, a keeper of the tomes, and a 1 and a 4 is a rebel leader.
Ooh, there we go.
Perfect.
Which makes sense.
That's the reason.
That makes sense that Sundale has been able to hold off against these 2 factions as they're aligning themselves as we are an independent clearing. We don't work for the Marquis. We don't work for the Eyrie. We are Fox, and we are our own. And important buildings in the town, a 5 and a 6 is a bank, and a 3-3 is a brewery.
That kind of works with the lab.
That works at the lab in the basement of the brewery.
So
There we
there's and then the banking is done because again all the trade that happens with all their trade goods. There's some rabbits from other clearings that have opened up a better borough bank, and they work at keeping sort of the market rate of this. Even in a time of war, people still need to build things, and so one of the ways Sundale has been able to survive as this independent clearing is by trade. And by keeping the money flowing in so that they can continue to build and sell.
Are they members of the
themselves.
Better Business Borough?
Thank you.
and then of course Sundale's got its famous brewery and scientists that work with it, which makes sense too for tinkering foxes. And then last, they've got some problems that have been going on in town. 2 and a 1.
You mean the conflict?
You mean more
The
than just
impending invasion?
Well, I rolled tyranny. And so I'm thinking it's with this rebel leader.
Yeah.
There's this, you see everyone is tired and is being worked to the bone. And is this better than if they were to just make peace with one of the factions? And then a 1 and a 5 is famine. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep. They're
They're hungry. They've been as much as yes, they're able to sell their stone. What does it matter when they can't import food from Limbury or from Pinehorn? This is a quarry town, not a farm town. There's no food here. There's no nothing being grown here, and the ground around Sundale is war zone. It's all on fire and it's all been ripped up. It's been salted. There's no chance of them making anything for the harvest. So they're starving and they're tired and they're being driven under the boot of this rebel leader who is adamant. And you see banners with this fox symbol, right? Like a house banner. And this person is a would be lord of Sundell.
Ooh, do you think maybe he allows me to have my secret workshop in this town because I've promised to help him? Like he made me swear to give him some inventorial help and like
you've got the
help.
secret. The Marquis wants your secrets. You give me the secrets, I give you safety.
Yeah. And I'm working on acquiring the secrets. So maybe that's where I get the information and that's where it is.
Yeah. He's got designs of being the next superpower of the woodland, right? Enough of these cats, enough of these birds. It's time for the fox.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to rise up. We're going to take this place back. But it starts here. It starts now. He's got a, he's dangerous.
Sweet.
So that's Sundell that we just walked into.
So I'm gonna call the
Pleasant little cottage town.
the brewery owner.
Sanctuary, just like Jasper promised.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I know it's not
But
as
if
nice
you-
as I said it was. but-
Anyone you played Witcher 3?
Yeah.
And like how like wrecked some of those towns are where they're on the front line. Like it's kind of like it's that. It's muddy. It's nightfall or it's getting close to that. So it's that weird twilight. So you got some torches going and
But this
fire.
is a faction that I might be able to align
But
myself
it's so desperate and there you see mice and rabbits and badgers. You see other animals and they've set up tents around town where they're trying to just hide here. Everyone's running from something and they're all running into Sundell. And of course this leader, we should give him a name.
the Fox Confederacy.
Is it or her a name? Let's give her a name.
I like, what about the color? Claw.
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 Like a good revolutionary name, right? Like someone who's someone that would
Who are you gonna follow into
inspire.
battle?
Clawbeard.
Soren.
I like Igrin.
Igrin?
Yeah.
Igrin Claw.
Yes.
Yeah, it's quite the utopia here.
And this
Jasper?
historian, the person who's keeping the this historian might even be more of like an elder in Sundell. Here before Ingrid, before the war, knows what the time was like when the dynasties were in charge. And Jasper, you would know who this historian was.
Zim.
This might be someone who even taught you as a teacher before Quentin came into your life and pulled you away with your with your inventiveness. This person is more of a scholar and an academic.
What if he was a refugee from so he was with the Marquisate and he was my like tutor or something like that. who
Yeah,
then
just
is now out here.
an old mouse.
Yeah.
Just this old
Zim.
mouse.
I think
who kind of
it's
got like
one of
a
the names on
Yoda
here.
thing with a
Yeah.
cane going.
Yeah.
So,
XIM.
Zim, and that's it. It's just Zim. You know,
Zim.
Zim's been around for so long. Zim's old.
Everyone knows Zim.
No one knows how old. But Zim was old when your granddad was looked after by Zim, and it's kind of like the Boothby from Star Trek at the Academy. And Zim also keeps records. Has like a bookshop or something that goes on, and was here at Sundell before Ingrid kind of made it her operating base. For you, Jasper, because Sundell is more connected to your story, Zim might be the only friendly face in town right now.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is a rebel.
Well, let's beeline our way
Trying
to
to fight against both the Eyrie and the Marquis.
That's basically what we're doing.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely among friends now.
Emmerich nudges Jinx when they pass the bank.
Easy pickings, you say out loud.
Go
really
let's
loudly.
go there later.
I'm going to hear them be like, oh, not yet.
Yeah.
Later. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
I mean, and if Ingrid has designs of becoming a new superpower, like this would be where the war chest is kept, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly. All the fun.
you got to pay your soldiers. You got to keep that
Soldiers
roll
should
up.
book
You can't spell
retired.
fun.
I know.
Mercenaries
fun.
don't come cheap. They're going to get paid before the citizens do.
Yep.
That guard there's asleep.
So where is Zim's like historian hut? I'm sure he's got
Zim is always in the brewery.
yeah, he's just
Zim's
getting
always
drunk.
got a table at the back. Not getting
by the
drunk.
fire.
By the fire, reading a book with a nice
Classy.
aged
Yeah.
rabbit wine.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm going to walk over to the brewery as I have so many times before.
Can't
and
grow
give it-
grapes in Sundell, so this is like the last wine left, right?
It's true. And give the characteristic knock that I've been doing for years now coming here.
And then he sitting back in his chair. He's got his like his staff just on the ground. Just kind of goes, just the response.
Yeah.
And kind of smiles. I knew you'd be back one day.
The worst has finally happened. Everything we've been planning for, it's like you saw the future, Zim. Quentin turned on me. They tried to use my science for horrific purposes. They planned to destroy everything.
Well, of course they do. I'm glad you finally cleared your head of all your silly ideas.
They're not silly ideas, Zim. It's science.
And he kind of slams his book closed, sort of like, at what cost?
Progress.
Because he's an agriculturalist.
Yeah.
His history is in the history of the woods and of nature.
So I screwed up. I made them something that I shouldn't have. And now I've destroyed it, but my notes still exist. They might be able to create it's a weapon that could mean the end of everything.
He has himself. He's got this wine bottle that I've mentioned, right? The Last Grapes. It's a Limbury wine. Maybe that's what Limbury is known for.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Have you been to Limbury lately? Have you tried their wine?" And he pours a drink and pours into a glass.
Not since years ago.
Well, a few months ago, the Marquis burned the grapes, ripped out the vines, turned it into an camp for the army. This is the last bottle left. And he throws it into the fire and it smashes.
Oh, Emmerich tries to leaps through the air to try and do it.
That's a skill. Do it. Try it.
This is what your science has done. No more grapes, no more wine, no more food.
I was trying to make things better.
How do you feed people with your inventions?
The point was that we wouldn't need to feed people at the scale that we were at. We could make the food. We could create the sustenance. We wouldn't have to farm. We wouldn't have to toil.
I feel like this relationship with Zim has always been a debate.
Yeah.
It's always just debate class with them. He's always this contrarian, but that's also, at that point, he kind of laughs.
Yeah.
And he goes, "It's good to see you again."
Likewise. These are my friends.
Meanwhile, Jinx has actually been like to the whatever far back wall trying to see if there's anything valuable in this place.
Zim, I hope you treat them with the hospitality that you treat me.
I'm just keeping an eye on Emmerich.
Is the lab still standing?
And he gets out of his chair and he grabs his staff and he smacks it on top of your head. Of course the lab's still standing. I made you a promise, didn't I?
Yes, and I thank you for it.
Because in character creation, you wrote down that you had a workshop.
Yeah.
In
Sundell.
in the woodland, and you marked Sundell as that place. So you have a place where you can actually do tinkering moves.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun.
I have food and water stored away. Hopefully, it'll last us, but I don't know where they're moving to, what they're doing. I don't even know if you guys want to accompany me in this crazy mission, but it's all I've got left.
Oh, I'm too old for all those silly ideas. I could introduce you to this Claw if you like, though I don't think she's one to be trusted.
But it seems our goals are aligned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe it's taking down the Marquisate.
Oh, yeah. No,
That goal.
of course. Yeah. No problem.
That goal. There's a bunch of other goals.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other goals too. But
Emmerich tries to just pick up the mug when Zim isn't looking, as if he had been. Just tries to casually pick it up and start walk away with it.
I don't think he cares. He's an old man.
I think that Trixie is just always looking for somebody to lead them. And I think this Claw is the last viable option.
Jinx has pocketed a handful of corks from the wine bottles that have already been opened that are probably in this place, by the way. Just putting them in their pockets.
Zim, we will lodge here tonight, and if you could introduce us to Claw on the morrow, that would be incredibly helpful.
I'll see what I can do, but I can't promise you're going to like it.
We have to take down Vance, and we have to destroy those notes. And if we can take down the Marquisate while we do it, all the better.
And he just kind of nods his head, takes a big sigh. You haven't learned a thing. And he just gets up and he walks out. I'll show you to a room. And you can probably even just set up in the workshop if you want to stay away. And he, waddles out in his cane. And as you go through, like the tavern, the few people that are there are, they're dressed as, with armor and they got swords, but they're all beaten and they're broken and they're bruised.
They don't want to
these
use
rebel
those
fighters. And outside, there's more people sleeping outside than there are people sleeping inside in Sundell. But as you come through and you see, there's lots of families that have run and they got nowhere to stay. And it comes up to this, kind of a shack out behind the bookshop, and it's been closed up. And he pulls out a key and unlocks it and pulls it back, and there's your workshop. Everything under blanket and cloth and kept just the way you wanted it. No one's been in here. I don't even think they know it's in here. If they knew what was in here, well, I don't think Ingrid Claw would be so kind with the rent on the shop.
You've done well by us, old man.
Yeah, it's gonna get me killed one day. I'm too kind. And he walks his way back out and he goes off to bed.
So in the workshop, so it's basically all scrounged together equipment. I couldn't ferry out official equipment. So it's stuff that kind of sort of works. Doesn't always work. Taking a gamble. There's an anvil and a forge if anyone wants to temper or anything. There's an alchemical stand and a whole bunch of food and water stores, stuff that will just stay. So set up for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so sleeping in the night, you'll get to clear off exhaustion.
Yay.
Oh,
Some of you
huzzah.
marks 2, but you only get to clear off the 1.
Damn.
It's
Okay.
1 per day. Again, if you follow through with your nature, though, you can clear all your exhaustion.
Cool.
Keep that in mind. That morning, there's a note that's left by the door that the Marquis will be seeing you. Not the Marquis.
Oh, God.
What?
The rebel leader, Claw.
Game's up, boys.
Ingrid,
They found us.
Ingrid's agreed to a meeting. They generally do a talk to the troops in the morning. She rallies them and gets them all ready for the day. And then there's a kind of a command base. It's a home that's been commandeered that they will meet you in afterwards. But you've been invited to the rally, and then she'll see you afterwards.
Well, that's exciting. A rally. I haven't been to a rally before.
And you did lose some decay. You could, instead of going to the rally, spend your time resupplying and getting your supplies up. Certainly with your workshop, you wouldn't have to spend any money. You can just raid your own workshop. But it would take the time. It would mean you're doing that at the expense of something else.
Yeah.
Right? During daytime, Sundell doesn't look as horrible as it did last night. And that was also right after that fight. It's certainly battle scarred. It's not very colorful. There's no flowers. There's no grass. Everything's muddy and it's crowded. But in the morning, fresh air, people are getting on with their lives. There are citizens living here and there's kids running around and I wouldn't necessarily, it's cheery, but it's not as apocalyptic as it felt last night. And you see, the rebels, they've all got a green jacket that they wear that notes them, and maybe an armband with the fox symbol on it, and some of them have hats and others have short swords and bows, and it all looks like it's not very expensive stuff. It all looks like stuff that they just got from their own home, right? These people are farmers, and they're walking up towards sort of the town square where this kind of rally happens. Where you get to meet Claw, right? This rebel hero, the one who's going to free Sundell and actually stand up against both the Marquis and the Eyrie. You do notice, compared to other clearings, none of you are birds. There's no birds in Sundell. Obviously you haven't seen any cats either, but that's not a surprise. They're all invaders. But none of the families around are birds. And are you all going to the rally?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
so. Yeah.
I think there's not much I can do in my workshop at the moment because even if I wanted to replenish things, nothing's really damaged. So we might as well just go to the rally and see.
Yeah.
So where in the crowd are you going to be standing?
I'm a
It just
fox.
informs me on what you might be able to see.
I'm gonna try to make my way towards the front.
We got 2 foxes in the group, right?
Do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sundell has a lot of other creatures living here. Certainly fox is the predominant animal, but you got obviously Zim the mouse and you've got some rabbits, and a lot of the refugees are themselves rabbits because we don't really have any rabbit clearings around here. So they don't have a clearing to run to. So the people they don't have a home. In the crowd, you can, they're getting hushed as they're waiting, and here comes Ingrid Claw, and you hear her voice boom out like, the fox that it is. We're outnumbered, we're outpowered, but they can't, stop us. And given this whole rallying speech about, standing up against oppressors and invaders, and those who would think that they are above us and think that they are mighty, and just it's all propaganda, right?
Emmerich getting into it with everyone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Would you describe this as a tense situation?
I feel like people are like
it's about to be a tense situation.
Cool.
Because that's when her honor guard bring up 2 hooded prisoners that they captured.
So
And
real tense.
we make our stand here, and they will never be able to stop us again. And this rally is a public execution. And when that happens, they're knelt down on the floor, and the hoods are pulled off. And we'll end this episode here. One of them is a bird that they captured, a raven from the dynasty. Another one is a black cat
No.
captured in the fighting for the Marquis.
Jeez.
It's Cloak,
Yeah.
Jinx. It's your former partner in crime
And loved one.
and loved one.
Yeah, no, this is deep.
Do we all know this, or is it just you?
I met you 24 hours ago. I feel like I haven't shared my life story.
Well, I don't know. I feel like
together.
You know, Emmerich would know.
I feel like Emmerich would be like,
and I feel like
this is Jinx. Jinx has a...
Jasper
Yeah.
might have heard stories
Yeah.
of someone.
You know.
Yeah.
We stayed up late nights talking.
Yeah.
It was
Oh
great.
my God! What happened next?
I feel like, oh my God, it's Cloak.
And I think we just end that
I think
there.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you need a few minutes to figure out what you're gonna do.
Jeez.
I was gonna read a tense situation,
You
but now I'm
can.
gonna.
Now you're definitely
I think
going
you
to.
I'm
already
going
know
to,
it's-
and then yeah,
This
I have
got
different
really
questions
complicated.
I mean, I still have my cloak of like raven feathers. I could
because I
throw
could.
that down and we could try to usurp
could.
Claw.
Well, the cool part is, so like if I read a tense situation, even if I miss, I can actually still ask, what is the most valuable thing here? Except for Jinx, it would be Cloak.
We know.
I know. We know what the answer's going to be. I don't think it's about stealing.
So you just don't
No.
ask that question. You can
I know,
ask
still.
what's vulnerable, what's
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm changing up my
who's-
questions
yeah,
now.
what's the best way in and
Jinx is
out?
vulnerable.
Well, I think
right
it's also
now.
very
Jinx
obvious
is
what's
very
vulnerable right now too, because they're about to be executed. So
Yup.
Yeah.
But these rebels are not they're not well trained. They're not ill equipped. They're just farmers who are believing in this ideology. The only person who's a real danger is Ingrid Claw and the true believers, those who really stand by. So we will find out what you do. I don't have a solution to this. I actually originally thought that Cloak was going to be trying to kill Ingrid but then I had this other thought just as we were walking in. So we will find out what happens in Sundell. It's not sunny days right now.
Nope.
Right here, as we continue through our Root playthrough. Root, the tabletop RPG, is currently kickstarting with Magpie Games. The link is in the episode details. Go through, check it out. And if you like what we're playing, like, yes, it's cutesy animals, but yes, also it gets dark as hell. We will continue this next week. We got at least 2 more episodes, I hope, fingers crossed, to go through. So thank you for following along. I have been Justin Eacock, your GM. I've been around this table with my now, like, the blood drain from your face, our thief with a heart of, well, your heart belongs to
It's
a
a
cat.
heart.
Yeah.
Belongs to a cat. Hi, I've been Natalie playing Jinx.
black heart for a black cat?
Yeah, probably. That sounds right.
a heart made of catnip. I'm Julian playing Jasper the Bastard.
Where's your heart belong?
To science.
Science.
That's
To
fair.
innovation. You only asked if you could, never if you should.
I'm Sean playing Emmerich of Crosspatch.
Sir Emmerich.
Sir, thank
Sir.
you.
Sir.
I was going to take it away of the moment.
And where does your heart belong, Sir Emmerich?
Well, right now, if I find out it's Cloak, it'll belong with Jinx.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm Daniel. I am playing Trixie the Lost. My heart belonged to the Marquis, but, well, that bridge was burned.
Yeah, but if you save a Marquis prisoner,
I know. That's
that
what I'm
might
thinking.
just be your opportunity to get yourself back into their good graces.
Oh, I know.
I mean, what's
Trixie is so
what's
in for
one
this.
more bridge to burn on the
I was
path
gonna
to
just-
redemption?
Redemption. Air quotes.
We're just burning everything.
We'll find out what their solution is next week right here on the Terrible Warriors. Thank you for following us. Until next time, be good to each other. Episode 3 of the Crosspatch Gang will be with you on Tuesday as we continue with our Kickstarter special of a run through the Root Tabletop RPG. Special thanks to Magpie Games for letting us get involved in this event, and a special shout out to Brandon Conway and Mark Diaz Truman for sitting down and talking with me in an interview, as well as giving us some advanced rules like the map rules that we use to play our game in. That was really cool. The link to the Kickstarter is in our show notes. Click on episode description, send them to the page. Hey, let them know the Terrible Warriors sent you. Follow us on Twitter at Dice Warriors for all the updates on how this game is going to be playing out. And this isn't the only Kickstarter special we're going to be involved in. We've got 2 more on the way as soon as we're done with Root. So buckle in. We're going to be doing Tuesday and Thursday episodes for the next couple weeks. And your members of the Crosspatch Gang today were Natalie Wallace, Julian Spillane, Daniel Kwan, Sean Howard, and Master Justin Eacock. We will return with episode 3 on Tuesday, right here on the Terrible Warriors.